Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy, joined by special guest, my man Tyler Butcher Sr. from Master Distiller, the beer episode. Man, me and Tyler go a little ways back, man. Been looking forward to this. Tyler's a good fella, man. Makes some good liquor. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it. All the way from Nashville, Tennessee area, I believe. Joined by we got our co-host still, Uncle Joey. He's why we're late. He didn't know nobody went over to help him. See, the problem is when Matt has a problem, he calls Uncle Joey, and it's like that's the blind leading the blind, and then Uncle Joey's got to try to call Rigsby. Good luck with that. And then they're all calling me, and I'm like, man, let me fix it all for you. So you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I can imagine
pudding cups.
I imagine what it's like being like the head nurse at a nursing home sometimes. You know, you just got to lead them in the right direction.
That's right.
Hope nothing bad happens. So
it happens.
Anyways,
hey, but we're here. We're all here.
We're here, you know. Hey, better late than never.
Thanks for joining us, Tyler.
That's the way it goes. We got a time change difference.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Like, just to be on Still Talking, hey, this is a goal in itself, dream come true. I watch your guys' videos, like for real. I'm serious. To me, I've been watching Big Easy and Philbilly ever since I started. Like, they were the first ones that I really tuned into, and just the way they act on there and how they're silly, have fun. Philbilly talks a lot of shit to Big Easy, but man, they taught me a lot though. They really did. They taught me a lot and gave me a good start. So I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Which video did you gravitate towards more and really like to mash off of?
Don't do me like that. I think my favorite video that I can remember the most of was probably Big Easy's Peach. Yeah. I mean, it was straight up, straightforward, short, sweet. I mean, hey, here's the cans of peaches. This is how many pounds of how many pounds of peaches you need. This how much sugar you need. Throw it in there, and dream big. You know. So I mean,
do your thing. It's a solid base. It's simple, and then you could take that and use any type of fruit. Like you swap out the fruits, do everything else the same. Change what you put in your thumper, obviously. Use your imagination. It's the best part about your thumper is you can use your imagination with it.
That's right.
Do your tweaks there. So, when I've heard that from you before, so I'm honored to know that like me and Philbilly was one of the people that they helped you be like, man, I can do this. Yeah, these dumbasses, I can do this.
Yeah, and another one, I think maybe y'all did 2 videos on apples. Because I'm a big brandy guy.
We did an apple brandy early on the
yeah, that was what I was about to say. My favorite apple one was it was more when y'all were like, first starting to do the videos and stuff. And,
early on when we had the Vever and we was just playing with the Vever.
Yeah. See, that's what I got. I went and bought. That's what I did. I just was like, hey, let me try this out. I've been watching Moonshiners on TV since it come out. It's my favorite show.
2011, I believe.
I always going to Sugarlands, just meeting people, just trying to, really, I just started out as a fan, honestly, just being a fan of it. And I was always like, man, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. And then I was like,
same.
Yeah, let me try this. I mean, how hard could it really be? I've been messing with copper all my life. I've been building stuff with sheet metal all my life. Now, still to this day, I haven't built my own steel yet.
Come on,
I get mine from somebody, but one day, one step at a time.
You can solder. You could build you a steel, man. It's not as hard as you think.
Yeah, because I've been doing HVAC for 14 years.
So you got the skills, man. So
yeah. So I mean, like, it's just something. It's just something about it really made me want to get into it and try it out. So I did, and my wife thought I was crazy. She was a little bit scared we was going to burn the house down.
What are you doing? Are you sure? I wasn't doing it here.
I've heard that. Yeah.
It was at Philbilly's, so it was all good. It's like, oh, do what you want. You know what I'm saying? So we're at Philbilly's house.
Yeah. So then, like, doing it for a year, I had been doing it like that for a year, and I met this old guy just from doing a job for somebody, and he was like, "Man, I moonshine too," and I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a 40-gallon pot out here. Let me show you." So he showed me, and I was, super intrigued by it. And then I just asked him, I was like, "Hey, do you have your old one still for sale?" And he said, "Yeah, I still got it." So it was like a 6-gallon copper pot, just a little bitty tiny thumper on it. So I was like, "Man, let me get this." And I took it home, and next thing you know, I've got 10 5-gallon buckets lined up going down the hallway in the house, and my wife's upset. So now I'm like really getting into it, really trying to keep this thing going. And man, I just fell in love with it. So after a year or two, I was like, shoot, I'm gonna bump it up a notch, and went and got me a 30-gallon pot. And I just keep on adding to it. Now I've made, I just, whether it's the infuser, the mason jars, or, I want to try to put a little bit bigger thumper on there. I know I'm going to make me a 5-gallon or, a 50-gallon worm. I want to do that myself. I want to start making this stuff myself, because I feel like the bigger the worm, the better,
the less water you have to transfer.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, hey, I just want to keep messing with it and see where I go. And I was telling you guys, that this wouldn't be some spectacular podcast, because I felt like, I'm not my name isn't as big as some of the others that are out there.
But you have your own unique story. You have your story, you know what I'm saying? And why not spread what you do? Because you never know how you do something might be a little different, and it might be just what somebody else needed to hear to get what they're doing right. So everybody's piece of information, no matter how big or small it is, it's still a great, valuable piece of information in the grand scheme of things. So never sell yourself short, brother. Like what you do is an art form, and you're an artist in itself. And like I said, for everybody sitting here, we all got our own twang. We do it our own way. But at the end of the day, if anybody contacted you, you would gladly feel free and spread the information that you've gained from good fellers without looking. And that's what it's about. That's what keeps this tradition alive.
It's amazing what all I've learned just being on here, just listening to everybody. I pick up a little bit from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm here. I want to learn from you.
And they do those interviews when you were on Master Distiller, but that's just a little piece, man. They condense that way down. You come on here and you can talk about you way more than they had even let you have time to talk about you. So
that's the little story how you acquired your first still, you know what I'm saying, with the first good, badass still.
Exactly. And whatever. I just had to keep, from meeting that guy and getting that small still, I just had to keep working my way up, and I would go and see Mark and Digger and Mark Rogers all the time at Sugarlands, and just being there and just talking to people and meeting people. Come to find out, I talked to somebody who was like, "Hey, call this guy to go get a still," and little did I know that guy that told me that was somebody, so I called this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I make all the Master Distiller stuff," and it just led to one thing to another, and then before
Gordon and Thunder Rose,
and then I seen something pop up that said somebody told me that they wasn't going to make any more Master Distiller on TV, so it was like the next day I seen something pop up and said, "Hey, if you want to try out for Master Distiller, shoot us an email." So I did, and just took a chance on it. And sure enough, man, they hit me up. Out of 16,000 people, I got the opportunity with like 25 or 32 other people that got to make it on the show on the season. That's a blessing. That's
right.
That's an achievement for me.
Right.
And,
it's an achievement for anybody. Any one of us would be honored to go on there and just throw their hat in the ring and give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've known many people who have applied and been close, but they went other ways, whether for one reason or another. But just the fact you made it on there, you're part of that brotherhood. You have an experience to be on there,
Absolutely. It definitely made me feel like
you did your thing. When you was on there, you did your thing.
It definitely made me feel like I was worthy enough to, to be in the brotherhood, to participate, or just to be in y'all's environment. I don't go out here saying, "Oh, I'm Moonshiner Tyler," or this, that, or the other, and I don't, I try to not be in any of the the conflicts or the drama and all that stuff. Hey, I'm just a good old boy that likes to make something to drink, you know.
What are you talking about?
And I like, you know, I like to try to keep the heritage alive. You know, I'm all in the history of it. You know, there's a lot of our aunts or great aunts, uncles, you know, family members, they made money off of this. It's how they made a living, you know. And a lot of people, I don't know if I have any, but like a lot of people that are doing this, their family did it, so they're just keeping that tradition alive. So you know, it means more to them, but hey, I'm just right there.
Right.
I'm just right there with them, just trying to enjoy it.
It's kind of like a survivor skill, though, I think, at this point in life. When you look at how things are, you never know when shit could turn south at any time, as hateful as we ought to say that. But learning how to make liquor is something that you can use down the road if need be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
use it
that's
for
a
your
tool.
lawnmower.
That's a tool in life. No, it really is, man. It's a tool in life. It really
it's
is.
a great barter, you know. People want to get drunk, especially when times suck.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, and my first taste, you know, like everybody, I went to Sugarlands and all that. Go to Tennessee and buy that. You know, you thought you knew what good moonshine was.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody you know that knows how to make it hands you a good jar of corn liquor, and I'm gonna tell you what, it changed your. I'm gonna be. It sounds funny, but it changed your life, man. It really
does. It really
it'll change your opinion. It'll change your life. It'll change your way of thinking on what's good liquor and what's bad, or not. I would say bad liquor. Just what's not
better,
what you
better,
what
you
not
know,
what you
what
thought it was.
What it's
Well, you
supposed
thought-
to.
yeah,
What it's
yeah,
supposed to be.
yeah.
What it can be.
And, you
what
know,
it can be.
I'll never remember the first time when I rolled in and handed Uncle Joey a jar of peach brandy, and he was like, "What'd you put in this?" So, love, Uncle Joey, love is what I put in that thing.
Man, I was hooked, Tyler. I mean, you know, I had all the other corn liquors and moonshines, but when my man here handed me he brought a box. He brought a box of, he came fully loaded with multiple this is corn, this is, I mean, and everything I tasted, it was just like, damn, man. And like you said, you taste that he put some of him in each one of them jars, man. It's what.
That's right. He said it when he said it's an art. You know, it really is. And you could take the same ingredients, and they've done it before on Master Distillers. You can give the same ingredients to all three people, and it's going to come out different. It's going to come out different because it's not only about the ingredients that you put in there. It's the still you're running, how you run the still. I mean, a lot of people don't think that it can't change the taste of your liquor. I'm a firm believer that your worm has a lot to do with your still and the way your liquor is going to come out, you know, because I mean, it does play a part in there. If the water temperature, you know, the placement of the cool, how far apart that you got it, how cold is it staying? Is it colder at the bottom and hotter at the top? You know, like a lot of that, you have to check all that stuff, and you have to stay on top of that the whole time while you're running. So, I mean, there's a lot to it, and it can definitely vary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science to the worm, the flake stand, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of science to how it should be and how it shouldn't be. You know, a lot of people don't believe you can have them too cold. You can have them too cold. You know, you're people forcing ice in them and having them sweat. It's that could be too cold. You're separating your molecules really fast, and you know, like. And like you said, everybody does it differently. I like it a little hot at the top, cooler down. That way the alcohol, when it's coming down, it hits that hot water at the top and it cools slowly because it's going through hot water
transition
before it gets into the cooler water. And that's how I run mine. You know, I got about a 3-inch layer of hot water that'll send your ass arm at the top. And I know that because, you know, when Sean dropped his phone into the worm, I went in after it. It only burnt me up here on this part of the arm because that's where the water was hot. But, you know, we all run it differently. Some people like it completely cool the whole way. They don't want no hot water in it whatsoever. Some people like it a little warmer. It's just, you know, it's all about you.
It's a little bit more dangerous when you're running it. When maybe I don't know why they do it, but I mean, when you're running it, when you're pushing it and you got it a little bit warmer on the top and colder on the bottom, you know, there's that fine line where it could get too hot.
Yep.
You know, and then you're losing liquor, you know, so some people might just, you know, they don't even want to mess with it.
I like to be hands-on the whole time. So as soon as my hot water starts growing a little bit more, I'll increase my water flow to make my hot water shrink, and I lower my flow back down to where I want. So, it's like
it's like a job, dude. Like I almost get stressed out because I'm like messing with the flame. I'm fidgeting with the water. You know what I'm saying?
Now wait, now if you're stressing out, you're not tasting enough.
You gotta be chill. But the drain on your worm can't be too big. It can't be too big because the water can't flow out of there fast enough for you if you want to push it. They can be too small and you can't let it flow fast enough. And then you see sometimes like the drain pipes, they make them go and they curve up along the way. So you create heavy spots, man. You got to let that water just flow out fast and easy. So if you got the opportunity to go with a bigger outflow as big as you can, man, it allows you to push that water the way you want.
Sean just uses that. He'll proof his liquor that way.
Oh, yeah. He just overflows the sides.
Sean lets his worm fill over into his bucket. That
it's
way
called
he
worm
automatically is proofing his liquor down as he's running.
That's why you run worm proof.
Yeah. See, that's
But he's building his moat.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna kick him out of the chat. So
So you said your first still was a Vever?
It was 5 gallon. Yeah.
Was it the 3-pot? Was it the football?
Man, I thought it tasted it. What would you say?
Was it the 3-pot?
It was just a
okay. No, with the lines and that leak like sieves, but you paste them and tape them. You make liquor with it, man. You learn a lot.
I thought it tasted so good, man. I was super excited, so proud of myself. I made apple pie the first time, and I took it to my buddies, man, and they were swallowing it. And, yeah, man, it's good. It's good. One of my buddies was like, man, this is terrible, And he was like, man, this goes down way too rough. It shouldn't be like this. And so I just was like, man, I can't, I gotta perfect this. I gotta make it right. And then watching people, watching you guys, watching George. George was another big one, man. That dude he is super smart.
Once you got the basics down, George is a little easier to learn from. If you just dive in, like I'm going to learn how to make liquor, and you turn on a George episode, you're like,
oh man, you'll be lost.
What the hell is this fellow talking about?
Yeah, because he kind of jumps around a lot too. Like he'll be telling you something, then he'll forget, and then like go back, and then he'll jump back into what he was telling you. So
you got to take notes. Like that's where
you got to take notes.
Family come in like, look, man, we're gonna make this simple. You could do this at home.
I know. I would.
Sugar, yeast, and water. There you go. You go make a liquor.
It would get too much watching George, and I'd be like, man, jump over to Phil Billy and just be like, man, this is so much more.
So were you just doing corn, or were you running brandies right off the rip?
I was doing brandies, man, because I mean, let's just be honest, brandy's easier. I mean, to me it is. I feel like it is. I mean, as long as you don't let your fruit really ride, which I mean, when you're mashing it in, it's almost rotted anyway.
As long as you don't,
it's like it's almost rotted anyways, and it's sweeter that way. But I mean, I didn't really jump into corn and grains until probably I'd say a year after having the 6 gallon. The 6 gallons. I ran brandy straight the whole time. Now I take that back. I did do a couple of just straight corn, just trying to figure it out because I knew nothing about it. I was like, I'll just throw some, grind some corn up, throw some, some sugar.
Uncle Jesse's style, man. That's everybody goes, and we call it support shine. So that's what I'd make now if I had to make a big run. Not wasting all my time converting that little bit of corn.
Basically, it's just sugar. It's just sugar shine because at that time, like I didn't know all about the starch conversion and making sure that I'm turning all the starches into fermentable sugars. You know what I'm saying? So like
corn flavor sugar shine.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. Is basically what I was doing was wasting the corn and making sugar shine. But it might have had a hint.
That was your nutrients.
Gives you a little corn flavor. The nutrients in the corn makes it to where you're not fighting that sugar wash battle. Because sugar washes can be a battle, from start to finish. You got to battle everything of them. So, like I throw that little bit of corn in. What's it, $10 for a 50-pound bag of cracked corn? Once you start reusing it and you start sour mashing it and you start reusing the back set from your previous run, well, that acidity and all that breaks down those starches over time. So it's over time that those sugars will release, and that's one of the methods behind the Uncle Jesse's Simple Sour Mash, and just using corn and sugar, and then going back with your back set is you will get the starches out of that corn. It's just going to be later on in your mashes, and it's just going to be really light. And it's cold mashing, it's cold mash. I know a feller. I'm pretty sure that Uncle Joey's drinking on a jar of cold mash bourbon right now. It's what he does. He loves cold mash, but he will cook some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a million different ways to do this, and we all got our own way. And while we're on it, what type of yeast do you enjoy? Like do you prefer just a single type for no matter what you're doing? Are you specific to, what strains or
Red Star Daddy?
Nice.
The
active distiller's yeast.
Yeah, because and man, I'm honest. I'm not trying to, act like I've done something that I haven't. So I'm just going to be straight up. I haven't really studied on other yeast. Now that's a whole nother ball game.
Yes,
that's a year. Like everything has its own, and I just really haven't made it to. Because there's other yeast that you can use that's going to give you a different flavor. You should use this yeast for this type of whatever you're making. So I just haven't made it that far. So I just stick. I know Red Daddy's going to put out. I know it's going to convert. I know it's going to.
That's a rabbit hole you got to look at and say, do I really want to go down that?
I've been down that rabbit hole. We got started real heavy with wine first. So we're like, we're going to use this type of yeast for this type of fruit, or this real acidity, we're going to use this. And then and then we used daity a whole lot early on when we were fermenting. And then I got into bread yeast, and I'm like, bro, it will ferment anything, and it's great. So I'm just like, I put it on everything, no matter what I'm fermenting, unless I'm making wine. If you're making wine, you want to get specific. That way, it's got a good flavor, a good taste to it. So you're not going to use bread yeast. You don't want to use like the Red Star on wine. You want it to have a certain type. That way, it pairs with it well. So if you're wanting to get into your different wine yeast strands, I suggest making wine. Get into wines and perfect you a couple fine wines.
Yeah, because wine has plenty of different types. They've got all kinds of types. Yeah.
Yes. There's just so many different types. When they called you for master distiller, did they tell you right then that you were going to be turning beer into moonshine?
No, I didn't know. Oh man, it's a crazy story. So like, it felt like it happened so fast, but
at the same time, it's a long, drawn out process.
Man, it took forever for us to go film, dude. It took forever. I was like, they finally called me. It was like, all right, hey, we really like what you've sent us and the video and stuff that you sent us. We're interested. We want to do a background check. So they did the background check, and that took forever to come back. So when it finally come back, they basically said that, hey, if we're doing a background check, we're not wasting our time. You're as long as you pass it, you're coming. So then, I found out I was going.
I've heard that from many people.
Yeah. So I found out I was going, and it was like a week before I left. They sent me my itinerary, like my information where I was going to be staying, and they the things that they would be giving us, like gas money to get there and travel and whatnot. And then we get there, and they're like, that's when I found out that we was going to be turning beer into shine. And I was like, man, I have no, it might have been a day or two before, like us driving up there, but I have no experience in working with beer. I've never ran beer. For one, like I always was under the impression that if I put beer into my pot's gonna be ruined.
It's gonna be nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so like I was like, I never, especially as like how I come up. I went from the Beaver to the 6-gallon pot, and then I jumped up to the 30-gallon. Well, that 30-gallon was pretty expensive, for me. So I was not putting no hops, nothing with hops in there. So
for
man,
sure.
I was like, man, I was thinking to myself, I don't even have time to even try anything, or even if I wanted to, what am I going to put it in? So I was like, I'm going in this thing blind. They told, I knew a little bit that like we could bring our own stuff, but there was only so many things that we could bring. And then when we got there, man, they put it on us. They told us how it was going to go down and pretty much what the show was going to be. And that, we had a special guest that come in that they didn't even put on. It wasn't even on the TV. Nobody even seen that.
Really?
Yeah, it was the lady that owns the beer company. So basically, like, and I think the other two, one of them said that they didn't know what we were making until they got there. So it was kind of different for everybody, but it wasn't a long time. We didn't have a lot of time to.
It's wild, like, because, like going there, like, man, I'm not taking any mash. Did you take any corn or mash or anything to make a mash with? Or did they have you bring anything just in case?
I brought some. I went shopping when we were there. They had a store down the road, so we was able to go get like fruits and stuff like that to add to it. But it was weird. So basically, I had no, like I said, I had no heads up about anything. So like I messaged you, I messaged Lisa Lowry.
What do I do with beer? And it's like let it decarb and go flat for about 2 weeks before you run it. I see him on TV like, and I'm like, holy shit! These people are making a foam. I did say, I was like, hey man, a lot of people with butter, stick of butter in there might help your cause in your pot. But yeah, they was cracking them right, and I was wondering if anybody had some bad foam, or maybe it was just really old beer, so maybe it was kind of flat. It was just wild, and so you had a misstep in the beginning, I do believe.
It had to be me, man.
And you're always, the whole time you're like, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to do nothing wrong. I don't want to do nothing wrong. And that'd be me. Like I'd go in like, look, man, I'm about to fuck shit up. Y'all about to enjoy this show. I'm gonna make a mess and magic all at the same time, and you can have one about the other. So
I was nervous. I was nervous because I didn't
find me somebody who wouldn't be.
Yeah, man. Like there was a whole bunch of cameras in front of my face. Like I'm literally sitting in the room, that I was watching on TV, and I'm right here in front of Mark Digger and Tim. So it's like this is like the real deal. So I was nervous.
Intimidating.
But man, at the same time, there was a calmness to me because I felt like, when I was running a still, because I'd met the people that I was going against, obviously, by that time when we were up there filming, and
you're settled in by now, and
like I knew that like Michelle, she runs in a distillery, so she does it professionally, but her still is really big. It's huge, so it's a lot different running that than it is the stills that we run, so I knew that I had that. Yeah, she never ran a still like that, so I knew I had an advantage there. And then Tom, I'm pretty sure he's done it before. I'm not sure how many times or whatnot, but he's more into beer. He's a beer guy, and that's why he was there. So the only advantage that I had against the people that I was going against was that I'm used to this still. So that was the calm about me. I knew what I was doing. I knew how to operate it. So I
run that type of rig, and it's like, man.
Yeah,
I've run all kinds of shit through my still.
I poured the beer in there. I'm like, all right, let's go. I cranked that thing up, because I'm pretty sure it was you a long time ago that I messaged, and I was like, what about temperatures? Where do I need to stay? And you're like, man, just crank that thing up until it starts putting out, and then adjust it to where you want it to be, and you feel comfortable. So like ever since then, that's all I've ever done. And because I don't really pay attention to the gauge on my still, it's always more than what it should be.
I don't even have one. I prefer to run without one. I got a pace rig without one. I built me my own little 5-gallon. I don't put a thermometer on nothing. It's all about feel and flow. I think what got you is you primed your thumper a little too much. Like you put too much in your thumper.
Man,
And,
you know what though? It
and
looks like that on TV, but I didn't know. Because
really,
that's what Tom said. Because Tom said something about it, and I don't think they put it on there. But like, I barely put any in my thumper. Like, I always only put enough to, go right above that line that's coming
right
all the
above
way
it.
down. Like, I just go right above it.
Like
And
I swear they had it cut in, and it
well,
it
what the
fries
problem
are good.
was, the beer wasn't flat yet.
No.
So when
It
I
foamed
put the
itself
heat
up.
to it, it bubbled up and foamed up and come
It
out and
foamed
started
over.
puking over. And I'm like, man, why is it not dripping yet? I feel it's hot. It's getting hot in here. Well, it wasn't liquid, and I mean it was liquid, but it was
It was
in
foam.
foam form, And I was like, man,
It
it's hot. Why is
filled
it
that
not?
thumper up and pushed it out.
It pushed
That's
it out and it started puking,
weird.
which like Tim said, it kind of gave me an advantage, which I really think it did, because my first thought was, I'm freaking out. And as soon as this happened, as soon as it started puking, they're like, hey, the steel's puking, somebody send somebody. So like now the camera's in there and they're like right in my face.
Yeah, so you're like, damn.
And so like I'm kind of, my pride is hurt a little bit, I'm a little bit upset. I could feel my face. It was red, I just wanted to be out of that situation.
Yeah.
I can't run from it. So what do you do? Let me make it right. I killed the
Right.
heat, turned it off.
What would I do at home?
Yeah.
What would I do at home?
Yeah, I just got to fix this. There's no way around it. I popped the cap off. I looked in there, there was still plenty of room in there. So I'm like, all right, let me take this thumper off. Got Tom to help me dump the liquid back in there.
Yeah.
And then I turned it back on, man, and started running. And I just went slow and easy from there on out. It scared me because I knew that it was a different animal, that foam in there, and it wasn't flat.
Beer and foam, man. Like, I was surprised nobody used any type of butter or oil in their pots.
Well, I think it was on the second run, yeah, because all three of us were there. They had to bring more beer in for us because they only give us barrels, but the barrels, it was like 25-gallon barrels, but the barrels only had like, just a little bit in there. I told them, and I said, hey man, this isn't enough. I can't, this isn't like a mash or something where I can just dump water into it. And I mean, if I put this in here, I'm not going to get any alcohol. I'm not going to have any jars to be able to.
And that's the thing about beer. When you run beer, there's very little alcohol in beer. Even when you get those, like, didn't you have some beers that were up around like 8, 9, 10%?
9.5.
Even still, that's not like a 10% in your mash that you fermented. It is way, and like you said, all the foaming and everything. You lose so much that it's not the same. So like, I ran a keg of beer. It was an IPA. It was like 6, 7%. I just threw a top end on it and I fired it up, and man, that thing foamed like a sumbitch out of it. And I turned it off, and as soon as I would turn the heat on from it was so hot. When it's so hot, it takes such little flame to get it up to temp, to get it boiling and foaming again. Like, I had to let that sit for like 2.5 hours, and I did a video on it. That part wasn't on there. And that's the thing. Like, I'm at home, I cut that part out. Like, all right, I learned a lot. I'm gonna talk about it. Like, hey, don't heat it up too fast. You're gonna foam.
Luckily, I was able to kill it, pop that cap, dump it right in there, and go right back to it. And you know what surprised me the most was I didn't get any residuals. No bad taste, no bad color.
Yeah.
Nothing after I started rerunning. I mean, I think I might have dumped out 150 milliliters out of the first little bit when it started running.
Yeah.
But after that, man, it was clean, clear, and
well, on the
you recovered well, man. You really did.
By forcing that beer through there, you flushed the system out, and then you drained it, and then you blew heads through it, which cleaned it out for you. So you gave it a nice pre-wash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You seasoned it with a little beer flavor. So I'd imagine that your first couple jars had a nice strong aroma to them.
They did.
And those hops could get rough. You know what I'm saying, on some of the beers when you distill them. So
yeah. Now that's another big thing, man. And see, I haven't been in this long, but just things that I've learned from guys like you, and just watching other people. Man, if I wouldn't have done that and learned the things that I knew, there are things that had happened that could have damaged or made a change in people's flavors or drinks or whatever, because when they give us those barrels and they weren't full, and I was like, hey, this isn't going to be enough, Tom, and then we're like, what, we can't just add, nah, we need more beer. So they brought more beer in, and the beer was fresh. So we had to dump our cans of beer, and that's what you seen. We were dumping our cans of beer in there, and we had to sit there and stir them. And Michelle was like, hey, Michelle and Tom both, they were like, hey, well, if you add oil in here, it'll help that, that foam and stuff. So they give us some oil. They let us pour that in there. But what I was going to tell you is on that second round, when that happened, they washed our stills out and put them back in there. But when I walked in there, I noticed my still was different. I noticed because it was like something about it. It was like a dent or something.
Michelle talked about this, didn't she?
Yeah. And I was like, I told him, I said, hey, this isn't my still. And Michelle and everybody was like, this ain't my still. And I was like, well, this is going to make our stuff taste different, because now I got Michelle's still, and she's running something totally different she's got like some, dark, whatever it was.
Yeah, as you said, she did like a porter or something like that. And they just spray them out afterwards. Like,
that's all they do.
All right, we're done.
Yeah, so I told them, I was like, oh, I need my steel back. And they're about to come in there and start rolling. And they're like, no, these are the same steel. I'm like, no, I need my steel. And
look,
we have to stop everything.
I use this still. I bonded with that still. Like, me and that still are one together. So,
so we had to stop everything, swap the steels around, and then we was able to run. But like simple things like that, though, it could have potentially messed up the flavor of mine or theirs, So I'm just glad I paid attention to stuff like that, and it just comes with time, just learning stuff like that.
You think about little things like that.
They matter, they really
do. You can definitely you can season a still. Like stills get seasoned. They do.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about that quite a bit, Colin. Copper stills.
Dude, copper stills, they get seasoned. If you run something in a still for so long, it's gonna have that residual flavor. That's why like old Tuck and Reds, a few years ago
I remember that.
They make vodka. They had a big vodka contract, and like it tastes like Tito's, it tastes like corn, and so they got with Sean built them a jar rig. They run it through like 3 or 4 jars, and it still tastes like corn. What do we do? And go over there and check out the shit. And it's like, well, how much do you run this? He's like, every day. And I was like, well, you run so much corn liquor through this still, it's going to taste like corn liquor, everything, no matter what you run through it. And so, he hooked them up with a stainless rig, and they run their vodka through it. Customer's happy, doesn't taste like corn anymore. And so it's something to think about. If you run a distillery and you make brandies or like brandy types, you might just want to have a still you do fruit on and keep all your fruit away from your grain stills if you can.
Yeah.
And it says you don't want to mix those flavors. Like us at home, like bro, we clean our shit. We don't run a whole lot of the same thing. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I run a lot of brandies, man. So like I've been messing with grains for the last little while, especially this last year. But brandy's my thing, man. I love brandy.
I'm still trying to perfect a solid brandy.
So
it ain't never good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to be better.
So much with it. I mean, if there's somebody that wants something that tastes like whatever it is, whatever it is, you can take anything, any type of fruit, and make the liquor the base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you can flavor it to whatever you want, whatever they want. So
anybody can post flavor.
Do that with corn and stuff too. But to me, it's just so much easier, man, to get some fruit, dude, and throw it in there, put some sugar in there. I get some good old spring water.
It's a better drink.
Anybody can post flavor. But who can hand you a jar of clear and be like, I didn't put anything in that, and it tastes like what it should? You know what I'm saying? And it tricks you into seeing it. And like I said, that was one of the things that was the thing I enjoyed most about your episode. Was at the end of your episode, you was like, you know what? I infused this. I'm turning it in just like this, clear, infused, and you put that jar on there, and you stood 10 toes firm behind that jar, and that was the most respectful thing that I've seen. You know, like you stood on your clear jar, your infused jar, and for me, you know, that tugs at my heartstrings because I'm about clear infused liquor. That's what I'm about.
And so, man, I'm telling you, like,
respect.
Man, I wanted to stay true to it because that was the thing. Like, and maybe I misunderstood them, or maybe I just stuck to what I wanted to do and how I'm used to doing things. Is I don't really like to post flavor,
right?
But,
it ain't my dig.
Yeah. But like, man, I wanted to compliment my beer. That's what I intended to do was
still wanted the beer to it, but did you put peaches or something in your thumper on your final run?
I had pineapples, mango, papaya, and I think that was it.
All right, so you had a bunch of fruits in there. Try to really mellow that out.
Yeah, one of mine was, I forget what it was, man. It was just like a crisp ale. It was super crisp, like just a clean beer. It tasted really good, but it was low on alcohol. So I grabbed the lounge beer, which had the higher alcohol tint. It also had like that fruity flavor. So, that's where I went. And I was like, man, I'll just throw some fruit in my thumper and in my pot, and try to bring out as much as this fruit flavor as I possibly can and turn in something clear. So that's what I wanted. I didn't want anything. Post flavored. I didn't want anything floating around in there. I didn't want to change the color. I didn't want none of that.
Clear jar,
like a clear jar. Like my intentions are giving you a clear jar and it tasting like whatever I put in my pot. That's what I wanted.
The biggest compliment you could get is when you hand somebody a jar and they're like, "What'd you put in this?"
Yeah,
you're like, "Bro, that's infused. Right. I infused that. Yeah, that's all infused. I didn't add anything to it." And they swear up and down that you put something in that, and it's like, man, I used all the tricks that I know and everything I've learned to make that jar, right there. And it's just.
What was your first fruit that you ever turned into a brandy?
Apples.
Yeah,
I made an apple pie, and like I said, they thought it tasted terrible. I think I still got like a little jar of it.
Now, was that a clear apple pie?
It was a clear apple pie, and then I did, I mean, when you do apple pie and you give it out at like Christmas and stuff to your family and stuff, I mean, it's post flavored.
Always, cinnamon, apple. Yeah, it's delicious. You know what I'm saying?
Brown sugar, apple juice, cinnamon.
Yeah. So that's what I done. I made a brandy out of apples, sugar, and water, and then I post flavored it with some apple juice, cinnamon, and just I think nutmeg.
A little nutmeg. Maybe a clove.
Clove. Yeah. There was some little odd and end little things I put in there, and no matter what I put in it, though, it still tasted terrible. So I've got a good apple pie now, though, man. I've got a pretty good recipe. I'm gonna be a popcorn jam, and I may bring some down there for everybody.
So me and Phil Billy were planning on coming, but he can't come. He's got family engagement, so trying to get somebody else to come with me. If not, then I'm just going to be at the Hillbilly Jam. But we're having a little festival up here, and where we're up in Dayton, Ohio, and we're putting together a little moonshine festival on July 11th. If anybody wants to come up and set up and shoot the shit and swap jars, man, it's going to be a good time. So
heck yeah, I hope to come down, man. Ohio's, I don't know. I drove there one time for a job. I think it's probably 4 or 5 hours away from me. Probably
as long as you're your life.
I think you're about 5. It depends on where you go. Yeah.
It's not that bad. But man, I just can't see. That's my thing. I haven't even been able to shine this year in 2025. Man, I have not put the flame to my steel yet.
I mean, you got a busy household, right?
Work for me. I'm in construction. I do HVAC and remodels. So like, man, I'm booming right now. I just sold a house. We bought some property, and and just life, man, just life.
No, it gets to you, and you're like, damn,
I
man.
understand that.
Like 1 year I ran 1,000 gallons. This year I ran nothing.
Yeah, it's terrible, man.
It's just the way it goes, man. And
I want to, and I'm going to in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna put a mash together for sure.
It's getting warmer, you know what I'm saying? Like for us, it's like it's finally warming up that your mash ain't gonna take 4 weeks to ferment because the shit got down to 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, what I done was, man, I did one like maybe a month or two ago. I did a corn, a barley, and a rye. And man, I spent some good money on that barley and rye. It was expensive. And I intended on running it, and I went out there and I made me a mash. I even did a little video on the starch conversion process and everything, and it all come out good. And man, I got too busy and I left it sitting out there, and it just sat for, it's been out there ever since. So it's probably been a month and a half, 2 months, and I still ain't cleaned it out yet. So
it's still good. The longer it sits, the clearer it gets, man.
Yep.
Hey, I'm
just
sure
getting better.
Yeah, I'm sure. I thought about running it because even if it isn't good, man, it's good to clean your still out with it.
Easy's gonna tell you to run it, man. Easy's gonna
make apple pie.
Yeah,
it'll make liquor. You know what I'm saying? Like it's good. Run it.
All right. I did one in the fall. Never run it. Waited until spring. It was just all corn, but it was fine. It turned out real good.
Me and Finley did a mash out of corn syrup. I had a 5-gallon bucket of corn syrup. We did a mash out of it. We just fucking ran 20 gallons out of 50-gallon mash. It's been in his garage for a year and a half. It's unfroze solid twice in the winter and everything. It's all good, man. It'd be all right. Just run that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna run it then. I'm gonna let you know. You know.
Hey, 220 degrees kills everything.
You might be surprised letting that sit and clear out.
We ain't getting to 220. Uncle Joey over here cooking on the sun, man. Like, hey, very little shit transfers during distillation, so we're good. So
true.
Well, it'll be all right.
Yeah, 220 is a little high.
Yeah, come on, Uncle Joey. Like, what are you making over there? That's that Chinese thermometer on that little still. It's like reading 220.
That's what that is.
But it ain't 220. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, that's why
every day I look down. I was like, damn. I look down. I'm like, damn, 220. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That thing down, that sucker gonna go up.
That thing needs calibrated. It's probably about 80 degrees off. So,
hey, but man, I don't want to. I don't want to not include Tom and Michelle, just because this is, just because I'm on the podcast. Man, they were both super great to work with, and definitely some big competition.
Yeah. You can definitely tell Michelle's good at what she does. We had her on a month ago or so.
Yeah,
she spoke highly of you.
Yes,
she's definitely
she
learned a lot. So
yeah, man, they taught me a lot too. Because I knew nothing about beer, so like, they're with her saying, "Hey, add some oil to it." I'll never forget that. So now, if I ever run some beer, I'm just gonna add some oil to it or some butter or whatever.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, I learned a lot from them, and Tom, man, he brought in the goodies. Like he brought all kinds of stuff with him, and things that I would have never thought would have complemented, the liquor that we were putting out. I mean, like. They taught me a lot too. I was mind blown, and I learned a lot from them. So even when it come down to me going up and choosing my botanicals to add to it, like, they were like, this might complement that beer a little bit. And so I either I tried it or I didn't, and I shot for the moon. So they're both really smart and they know what they're doing for sure. And like I said, Tom, he runs a smaller still. I know he's done it a few times, and I think he's still doing it now. But Michelle, she's running that big boy, and I mean, she just knows her stuff. She knows in botanicals. She knows what complements what, and she knows a lot about beer. So, it made it stiff competition for me for sure.
Right. You always know when you're in the room with somebody and you're just like, I'm just gonna shut up. Keep talking.
Yeah.
The only upper hand that I had on them was that I knew how to run the still. That was really all that I had on them. They, it was really their competition. I was in their ball game, in their ball field, and I just got lucky one time, 2 times, and she come out on top. She made the better liquor.
She spoke highly of both you guys, man. She she said
did.
she invited both you guys to come run with her, and now that you talk about it, we need to get a hold of Tom. I'd be interested to have Tom on here and listen to him talk a little bit. So if you have any of his contact info, maybe after the show we can get it, or if he would happen to watch, man, reach out to us. We'd like to get you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know he's super busy. He runs a shop in Colorado. And I know they're doing big things and kind of expanding a little bit. And
hell yeah.
And it would be good for him to come on and kind of, tell his story and what he does and how he got into it. So yeah, I'll shoot his information over and reach out to him, make sure, it's something that he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I tell you,
if he's interested, man, we'd love to have him.
Yeah. A lot of people who get started out in beer and wine and they really perfect beer and wine, they turn into really good distillers, really fast, because that's the base. If you that's your base. You got a solid mash, you can make a great mash. Running the still is the easy part. And like I said, there's always tricks and issues and things that you have to look out for and learn along the way. But in the grand scheme of things, putting it in a still and kicking flame to it and condensing it back into liquor is the easy part. Making a good high quality mash that tastes good from the beginning and when it's done, because like a lot of people when it's done are like, oh, it's sour, it tastes like vinegar. It's like, well, it's got a pH of about 3 and you just fermented it down. Of course it's going to have a vinegar taste to it. No, it's not vinegar. Put that shit in the still and run it. Quit second guessing yourself. Just run it. Run it. So
yeah, I mean, it is scary. You can't blame them. Anybody that first starts out, I mean, it's a scary thing to jump into. But like, if I could tell anybody out there that hasn't done it before that wants to do it, like you just said, just do it, just run it, just jump into it, because it's really not that bad. And you're gonna put something out that's bad. And eventually, eventually, and I'm sure there'll still be plenty of times that I'm gonna put something out that's not.
Every now and then it's like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, oh, I'm gonna neutral that out. Like Ben said, neutral it out. Make flavors with it.
That's the only time I'm gonna post flavor anything is like if I don't like the way it comes out clear.
That's right. Like there's never any failures. Just sometimes you gotta turn it into vodka. That's the way it is.
No, there's sometimes it's less learned.
It's just, it sucks when it's a big bash. So
that's a lot of money. Yeah.
So what's your favorite fruit to turn into a brandy now?
Peach.
Huh.
Love it, peaches.
Brandy, That's my favorite thing to do is peach brandy. I like doing apple brandy. I've messed with a little bit of plum. I'm trying to make like I'm gonna say this wrong. I know I will. Is it called
it's Slivovitz?
Yes, yeah.
Slivovitz, plum brandy.
Yeah, so I got some from somebody that come from like Russia or somewhere close to Russia or something like that. And man, it tasted so good. I still got it. It tastes so good. He had to bring it over here in like a beer bottle that had like a cap on it, try to make it look like it was something that it wasn't, Man, it tastes so good and it intrigued me. So I've been trying to mess with plums a little bit. I'm gonna do a watermelon sometime soon. Man, I really mess with all the fruits, really, just about any.
Anyone I can get my hands on. I don't know if you've done pears yet or not, but if you get your hands on some pears, man, you better roll up your sleeves and be ready to strain some shit.
I hadn't done pears yet, but I just planted 3 pear trees in our yard. So I'm hoping in the next few years I'll have some pears that I can
5 years from now, you'd be like, dude, he was right. This sucks. Like this is like straining water out of concrete. They trying to separate water and concrete. It reminded me of potatoes. It's brutal. So
that don't sound fun at all.
You'll when you get there, be like, bro, what's your trick for straining fruit? And I'll be like, this is how I do it.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna
It's a 5-gallon bucket with holes in it and a brew bag in the middle. Hang it and let gravity go to work. Go have a few drinks.
I did that, man. I used a brew bag on the show. I haven't. Maybe I have seen. I guess they did do it when they did like the meat episode where they kind of hung it in the pot. But really, I haven't seen anybody else on the show hang anything in their pot. You know, they only put stuff in their thumper.
I've seen a few people when they don't get the thumper. If they don't have the thumper, they'll hang bags and things in their pot.
There has been.
Try to give it a little bit.
I did both, man. I put one fruit in the bag and put it in the pot, and then I mix, you know, the rest of the fruits up and put it in my thumper. You know, trying to separate those flavors and see if I could pull
those oils. Those hop oils, the whole fruit, the solid fruit will catch a lot of those hop oils in the flavor, in the vapor path.
Keep it from passing over into that thumper.
Passing through, right. You know, and the whole time I'm like, man, I would pump that thumper full of peaches, you know, like you said, mangoes and pineapple. Like I'd have pumped that thing full. I'd have took a bunch of fruit juice and I'd have dumped it in there, and anything you can to just try to strip that hoppy, nasty, oily out of it, man, because that's what you don't like in it, and that's what you try to get rid of, you know, that the hoppiness. Unless you get somebody and they really like IPA beers, they would like it straight out off the still. That just ain't my dig, man. Like I don't like if I'm give me a lager, because I'm just an American boy. Give me a clear lager. I don't want your big thick IPA. You
don't taste your beer anyway.
That's right. Why do you think it goes down so fast?
If I drink beer, I'm probably drinking Dos Equis.
I you know, I like me a Mexican lager. You know, like, you like me some lagers. So.
I like Pacifico, man. Pacifico is a good beer to.
Yeah, I don't mind a Red Stripe. You know, I'll drink some Modelo's.
Modelo.
You know, El Toro down the road, man. I used to go hard down there.
I don't do no amber though. I don't like no amber beer.
Yeah,
I don't like. It's, I guess, too much. I don't know. I don't like the hoppy taste at all in beer.
Correct. And you know, what I don't like about beer is how when you drink so you get bloated. You're just like, oh, dude, I feel terrible. I've drank 6 beers,
man, and piss like a camel.
Right. And it's like, dude, just give me a shot of liquor on the rocks, man. I'm just gonna sip on this for a while, and it's gonna last me a lot longer. So, but anyways. All right, Tyler, man, we've had you on here long enough. I know you're sitting out in the car. You got the family inside, so we'll let you get in there to them. So, like I said, man, I really appreciate you giving me, an hour of your evening. Coming on here shooting shit, telling us, a little about your experiences and being on Master Distiller, and hopefully they call you to come running back again, because I'd love to see you on there. So, and then if they ever call you and say, hey, man, who do you want to challenge? I'm game. Let's get it.
Hey,
anybody.
The only way to be a true winner is to go up against the best.
I don't know about that. That's a big word. You're right. I got to go up against you, Tyler.
Yeah.
So I gotta knock you off. But anyways, man, we love you, man. We appreciate you being on. You ever need anything? You want to talk liquor? You want to shoot the shit? You already know, man. You shoot me a message. I'm always down to help, and I'll do the same. And Uncle Joey, Matt, appreciate y'all joining us. Everybody else, so
it's a pleasure, man.
We're going to be off for a little while. It's the summertime. We're busy. We are having, like I said, we're having the first annual Moonshine Festival here in Dayton, Ohio. It's Snickers Bar and Grill on West 3rd Street, and it's more out in the country. Me and Philbilly and Uncle Joey and Matt, we're all trying to put this thing on. If you're a moonshiner and you're not busy on that Friday, you want to come in, it's free to set up.
Come on out.
Stuff. Worst case scenario, we're going to get hammered and have a good time.
That's the goal.
So y'all come out and hang out. If not, I hope to be at the Popcorn Jam. So if so, I'll see you there, Tyler. If you need grains or anything that you want me to bring to you, shoot me a message. I'll let you know what prices I can get for you.
Yes, sir.
Because especially if you're the barley and rye, I imagine you're paying I don't know what you're paying. Just let me know what you're paying, and I'll see if I can't get you better prices on them.
Yes,
and
sir.
if I'm coming to the popcorn, you want some of them, let me know, brother. I got you. And
hey, guys, thanks for having me on here. And anytime that y'all just want to shoot the shit or need somebody to fill a spot, holler at me. I'd love to come on. And
always down, man.
Oh yeah.
We will be back June 23rd. Sean will be back. Sean ain't been here because he's training. He's training for his fight against Matt Brown at Farm to Bottle.
heck
So
yeah.
you got Moonshiner, you got first, second. They're gonna throw it down. Moonshiner versus Moonshiner. It's for a good cause. I think they're donating some of the money to some. I don't know all the details. I'm sure we'll have Dan Gray
charity
on.
The winner's choice.
Yeah, we need to get Dan Gray on. We need to holler at Dan and have Dan come on again.
That's why he ain't been here. You know, he's a single dad now, and he's training for a fight because he don't want to get knocked out. If he gets knocked out, he ain't never going to be able to show his face again.
No, we're not giving him that option.
No, not at all. He might leave the group chats. He might leave a group chat. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, we love all y'all. We'll be back June 23rd. We're going to have Mr. Christopher Kelly on. Sean and Uncle Joey are going to have Mr. Christopher Kelly on. So y'all come back, see us in June, and then we will see y'all. We might come back and talk about the Philly Festival we're putting on. So Tyler, have a great night, brother. Like I said, you need anything, reach out. And if I see you at the Popcorn Jam, I might have something for you to try. So y'all take care. We love all y'all. Shine on.
Shine on. Have a good night. Thank you.